Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 6 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in, Robin. Imagine I call you up and I say, Robin, I need you to come help me. I'm broke down. And you say to me, well, I'm going to have a hard time. I don't have any shoes. And I say to you, but my shoes are there. Can't you just put my shoes on? And you go, yeah, that's a good idea. Let me put your shoes on. Where are you? Oh, well, I'm a mile away. Oh, now you have to walk a mile in my shoes. As big, as floppy as they'll be. Or the exact opposite. If you called me and you said, I need your help, and I say, well, I have no shoes. And then you say, well, I got my stilettos in there.
That's right.
And I say, oh, okay, that'll work. Where are you? I'm a mile away. Well, that's a wonderful idea, and it's not mine. Karla Grimsley came in yesterday to record a public service announcement, and I promised her I'd play it, so I'll do that during this interview. Karla is in the studio, and you are such a beautiful lady, Karla.
Oh,
good to see you, and I mean beautiful in every way, if you don't mind me saying that. You are the Chief Executive Officer of Interfaith Emergency Services of Marion County, and the beauty inside part, I mean, touched me so much yesterday when you told me what you were trying to do to help raise awareness and money as well for the homeless.
Thank you.
It's an amazing, beautiful, simple but creative and effective idea.
Thank you. I hope everybody that hears about it thinks so and will come want to participate.
I hope people do it, yeah.
And I have to say this up front, interfaith, when people think of the homeless, they all automatically think of interfaith because we have so many homeless on our campus daily, but that's mainly because we have the soup kitchen there, which is a partnership with Blessed Trinity, Brothers Keepers. They're a nonprofit, and they operate that soup kitchen every day, so I want to make sure people know we don't get credit for that. That's the Catholic Church that does that, and it's a beautiful ministry, but that's where we interact mostly with the homeless. The majority of our clients are the working poor that come to us, get their groceries, and go back home.
Yeah.
But because we're walking past and within close proximity to the homeless every day, that's why I've learned so much about them, and they've just become so special to me, and why I'm such an advocate for the homeless.
And the working poor is such a crazy expression. Mm-hmm. There shouldn't be any working poor.
No.
If somebody's working, they should be not poor.
And you know what's even harder for me to accept is those that have worked their whole lives that are retired and come in and their Social Security check is $500 a month. And because of their Medicare and not the formula they use for that, their food stamps are only $14 a month. So they cannot make it on that. And so those
crazy.
people, we allow them to come more than the average person and we see that all the time. And I hate to see people that have worked their whole lives that in their golden years are struggling. It's heartbreaking.
And you have businesses and churches and things from the community that step up to provide the meals. My church, St. John Lutheran Church, we come in there. The students come in there also separately and provide the meals. And it's just really amazing because you have everybody from tiny babies living there.
Last month we had 17 children in our shelter. And what she's referring to is our homeless shelter at night. The soup kitchen does a lunch meal every day of the year in the middle of the day. But the way that we feed our residents in the shelter is the community comes together, and every night a different group, like a church group or a homeschool group or just sometimes Rotary clubs, they'll come in and prepare a meal and serve it. And such a blessing to our residents. And St. John's has been such a great partner. You guys help us in a lot of ways, so I appreciate you so much.
So what you do and how you do it and how we can help you is part of why we're here today, right?
Yeah.
So one of the ways we can help you, it sounds like a fun thing, right? So tell us what we're going to do.
Okay, so I needed to come up with another fundraiser, and I've always wanted to do a walk because all the walks in Ocala are so successful, and
this
people,
is so
people
clever.
Like to walk.
This is so different.
But I thought there's so many walks. I have to do something different. And I don't want to do anything unless people walk away with something more than just going to an event. I try to always make my events educational or just to affect people in a different way. And so I had this idea a couple years ago, and I was trying to wrap it around the coldest day of the year because I wanted people to walk in flip-flops on a cold day, and see what that without a jacket, so they could. And then it occurred to me, there's no way I was ever going to pinpoint the coldest day.
That's hard to do.
Then I'm watching the homeless in the heat of the summer. Last summer, it was in May, and I'm going, it is so brutal, and I don't know how they do it. They cannot escape the heat, and a lot of them don't have access to water. They get dehydrated. A lot of them end up in the hospital just for dehydration or heat exposure, and it occurred to me, that our homeless in Florida, they have to deal with that so much of the year, the heat, the scorching heat that we have here, and so I decided to do the event at the hottest point of the year. So we did it last year in August, but this year I moved it to September 1st because I want to give school a chance to get into session, so I can maybe appeal to some of the service clubs to come help us. So. And I wanted people to have an experience with this walk. And so the idea, walk a mile in my shoes, came to mind. And one of the other lessons I learned around that time last year was that something I never thought of before. Homeless people don't have the luxury of getting shoes that fit them. They get their shoes from charities like ours. We have a free clothing boutique where we give free clothes and shoes year-round. 5 days a week people can go and get them, and that's where a lot of the homeless get their wardrobe. They'll just get an outfit and they wear it till they can't stand it anymore, and then they shed that one and get a new one. And their shoes usually come from there. And our selection of shoes is really slim as far as sizes. And so often they're wearing shoes that don't fit them, not even close to fitting them, or they're either way too big or most of the time they're smaller. And I had a homeless friend that I saw limping, bad. I thought that he had been hurt or beaten up because he was walking so horrifically. And when I asked him, if he had gotten beaten up again, because that's a frequent thing that happens to him, he's mentally handicapped and very vulnerable.
Wow.
And he said, no, it's my shoes. And I looked down, and his shoes had to be a half a size to a whole size too small, and his feet were just a mess. And I think about even shoes that fit me sometimes that just are a little too tight in the toes, how painful that gets. But that's all he had to wear, and he walks everywhere he goes, so he has to wear shoes. And then I started watching so many of our homeless friends that do limp and walk funny, and it's not because there's something wrong with them. It's just they have uncomfortable shoes on, which then does start affecting their back and their alignment and their bodies. And
you are bringing an awareness to us that we didn't know about.
Well, I have to give credit to my friend Robert, because he's the one that brought it to my attention. And here's the other thing that impressed me that day was that he'd been having these shoes, wearing these shoes. He never complained. He never came up and said, "Can you find me other shoes? These don't fit." I had to ask him before I became aware. And the homeless that I know, they suffer in a lot of ways so silently because they've just conditioned themselves to this is the best I can have, so they just accept it rather than So anytime I'm finding these things, I'm trying to bring awareness to other people so we can help. So one of the things I hope comes out of this event is people being more thoughtful about donating shoes. How many of us have shoes in our closets that are still in good shape that we just never wear and just don't take the time to donate them, and or even just go buy a new pair of shoes to donate. And so we have a variety of sizes. And if anybody does buy shoes, I'll tell you one of the things we have the hardest time doing is getting shoes for men that have large feet. That we just don't get those donated very often.
She looked at me when she said that, Robin.
Well, and I'll tell you, so anyway, let me get back to the walk. So this is a walk of awareness, but it's also kind of a walk of suffrage. We invite people to solicit sponsors, and this is a really easy event to solicit sponsors to, because the way the event works is you show up and you surrender your comfortable shoes, and we're going to have all of our donated shoes laid out, and you select from whatever is there to walk in. and that's what you're going to walk in. Luckily, it is only 1 mile, but it's 1 mile in the heat of a day in shoes that probably aren't appropriate to walk in. And to make it even more realistic, we make cardboard signs for you to carry while you're walking.
What do they say?
They don't say, give me food or money. They say things like, Jesus loves you, homeless lives matter, and we sometimes some of them have statistics about the homeless population. Just they're positive messages or education.
So passersby will have a message.
They will.
Those who haven't heard about this will say, well, what's going on?
Yeah.
And they'll say, oh, that's an awesome idea.
And last year was the first year we had it, and we didn't get the word out very well, so I appreciate you allowing me to have this time today. Last year, I had about 75 people that walked, and a portion of those were actually the women that lived in our shelter and some of our homeless friends. So they didn't solicit donations, but I had 39 people that actually got donations and walked, and those 39 people raised $10,000 for this walk, which I was blown away. There was a prize. Last year it was a kayak. This year it's a paddleboard. So the person who raises the most money in their efforts, they're going to win a prize. But anyway, so people get to experience just for 1 mile, which is about 15 to 20 minutes, what our homeless, what they deal with all summer, all the time. And I have to tell you, you're talking about the big feet. One of my board members, he has really large feet, and there was basically nothing there for him to choose from. So he had to wear a pair of shoes that were too small. And within about 50 yards, I would say, he literally had blisters on the back of his heels, and they were about to start bleeding. It was that bad, that quickly. And I felt so bad. I was feeling really guilty then for asking him to do it. But he folded down the backs of the shoes to finish the walk. It still wasn't comfortable, but it had such an impact on him and other people that would see me a week later and say, I still have blisters. But those people now are a lot more compassionate and thoughtful when they see people. I mentioned to you yesterday Danielle Marciano, who I have to say thank you to. She was my partner last year in putting this on, and the Zone was my sponsor. This year, the Zone is our lead sponsor, and Danielle's right there with me helping plan it and get it going. And last year, she had blisters after the event, and now when she sees a homeless person, it's not unlikely for her to ask them what size shoes they wear, and she'll go buy them a new pair of shoes because it's just something now that she's aware of. And so it did have an impact on the people that walked. And if nothing else, they're just, like I said, more thoughtful about donating their shoes and about the suffering of people that are less fortunate.
Just this conversation alone is going to get people to bring you shoes.
I hope so.
Can we bring shoes anytime to you or to the event? You can bring them the day of the event because I may not have enough. And you can also, anybody that wants to that morning, it's September 1st. We're going to start registration at 9 o'clock. So from 9 to 10, we will be at the parking lot of Face the Day Spa and the Brick City Church. They're on either side of the lot, and they're both working with us to partner so that we can use our parking lot as our starting point. And anybody that wants to drop off shoes that morning can. And or if you want to, clean out your closets now and drop shoes off, you can take them either to the Interfaith main offices, so we can get them right in our boutique, or you can take them down to our thrift store. And that's Brothers Keeper.
No, our thrift store is. We have a thrift store right on Pine Street on it's 417 North Pine Avenue.
Oh, okay. I've seen that too. Yeah.
So that's our thrift store. It's just if you go past the courthouse on the right, you go over the first overpass, and it's on the left, immediately on the left, right by Handy House, where they have all those manufactured sheds, and right across. I usually say across from Jerry's Pawn Shop, and everybody knows where I'm talking about. And you can take them there and drop them off. And again, if somebody comes to our boutique and they don't have we don't have the right size, we try to check with the thrift store when we have time to see if there are any down there, because it is important for people to at least have decent shoes.
You did have a shoe drive one year, a few years ago. I know Larry and I participated in that, requesting new shoes.
Yeah.
And so we went out and bought a few pair and just brought them to the Interfaith, and there were so many people there that were dropping off shoes, and then a line of people that were waiting to get the shoes.
People want to donate new shoes. That's a double blessing, because they're going to wear these till they wear out. So the longer they can wear them. And like I said, if you buy shoes, get them in all different sizes, because we need all the different sizes. So So anyway, that's a Walk a Mile in My Shoes event, and I'm looking for, my goal this year is I have 100 walkers, and I'm just challenging each walker to get 10 sponsors to give them $25. And I'm thinking, who doesn't know 10 people that would give them $25?
Right.
And this is the way you sell it. You go up to your friend and you say, listen, I'm doing this walk. I'm going to go and I'm going to give up my shoes and I'm going to put on some donated shoes and walk in them.
Right.
Come walk with me. And they're going
Right.
to go, there's no way I'm putting my foot in somebody else's shoe. And that's when you say, well, then you need to sponsor me. Can you give me $25 because I'm going to walk? Because that's how I got all my sponsors last year. And because there are some people that just aren't comfortable enough to do
Right,
that. Although
right.
we will have disinfectant if that makes anybody feel better. But,
So where does the money go then? When you
That-
raise all of the funds, like you said, $10,000 last year, where does all the money
this
go?
money will support our homeless shelter program. And at Interfaith, we have a homeless shelter that that supports homeless women and children. We do take men in our shelter if they are married or to a woman, or I guess we've never had married to a man, but the only way we take men is if they're in a couple,
Yes.
or they have a child attached to them. And we've had a lot of single dads stay in our shelter, but so we have 4. Cause that's because we only have 4 private rooms, so we can only take them if they're attached to a woman. And then our main dorm is communal, so we have the women and children in there, and we can house about 37 people at a time. We work in partnership with Salvation Army because they are the Mac Daddy of shelter here in Marion County. They have
The Mac Daddy.
they have 119 beds, and they do it really well. And they take in single men, so they take care of the men. When they have a woman or a woman with children or a couple in front of them they can't accommodate, then they refer them to Interfaith. And if we have a bed, we take them in. Here's the problem: the homeless problem has not gone away. The economy's gotten better, but the homeless problem is still there. Last year, in 2017, we turned away over 1,000 families that we could not accommodate, which meant when they came to us, the shelter was full, or we just couldn't accommodate their size family. We had a lot of families last year, families of like sizes 8 and 9 people in the family,
Wow.
and we couldn't. We
Wow.
just don't have rooms to accommodate that because
Wow.
we keep families together. So, at some point we're going to have to look at expanding or something. But and when people get in our shelter, they get case management, they get support, and our goal is that everyone leaves no longer homeless. So they get to stay if they will work with us and meet with our staff and be productive, get along with everybody, follow our rules, which aren't really hard. We just don't let them drink and they can't do drugs. They have to be there for dinner because of nice people like you that come and serve, and a couple other small things. But if they can do that, they can stay 2 to 3 months, which gives them enough time to get a job, save money. We even have resources to help pay their first and last month's rent and deposits to help them get into an
Oh, how
apartment.
wonderful.
if they
There's
can
no
afford it.
reason for somebody not to support themselves.
Right. But here's the thing.
Wow, you're great.
We have people that are having to stay in our shelter longer now because we don't have enough affordable housing in Marion County.
Oh.
And then compound that with the fact that our people don't have vehicles, so they have to find affordable housing on the bus line.
Wow.
So
Right.
that's the challenge now. We have people working, we have ways to help them with those expensive deposits, but we can't find the housing. So if there are any landlords out there that are willing to work with us, because we have vetted these people, they've lived with us for 2 or 3 months, and so they're decent people. They're good people, and so we would vouch for them if any landlords had low income for us is anything under $500 is usually what they're looking for. To help us transition them out, because that's what probably why we have to turn away so many is we can't get our families out fast enough, even though they've got jobs. But anyway. So the money raised for this goes to support that program because it does cost a lot to house 30-something people. We provide everything they need while they're there. We want to take that burden off of them of worrying about how they're going to launder their clothes, the things that we take for granted, their toiletries and all that. We provide all that. So all they have to do is focus on putting that next foot forward to get back to self-sufficiency. And we recognize that if we take away all those other little burdens, that they can move forward. And of course, they get a lot of love and support because we have the most loving shelter staff.
They're wonderful.
Their staff they're so good.
They're wonderful.
I'm
your
really
staff.
blessed. So, but that's where the money's going, and my goal is 100 walkers. If everybody will get 10 people to give them $25 and come with $250, then we'd raise $25,000 for a
Nice.
shelter program, which would be
Nice.
wonderful. It would help tremendously. And
Karla, give us a landmark. Where is 910 Silver Springs Boulevard? Where is that? Is that?
It's where the big pink house is, where Ivy House used to be.
Oh, okay.
That's probably the best way for people to know. It's the parking lot at Ivy House, or the former Ivy House, which now Face the Day Salon and Spa is still upstairs there. And they have, I have to give a shout out. They are one of our sponsors this year as well, and Cox Communications have stepped up to be a sponsor for us.
Yes.
So our lead sponsor is the Zone, and then our co-sponsors are Cox Communication and Face the Day.
And the church is in that small strip mall there right next door.
Yeah, Brick City Church. This is the second year they've opened their church to us to be the starting point, and they've been really supportive. Had some other people there helping us lay out shoes and open their doors, so we have a restroom available, and really appreciate.
Going back to
Brad.
something you said early on in the beginning of the conversation that I wanted to say something about the lack of water for the homeless. When I was a kid, there were water fountains like everywhere publicly. We don't have them anymore?
No, not so much.
I wonder why.
Probably because it's a lot to maintain. The maintenance on them is just, they get broken, and that would be my guess. We someday I would like to add some to Interfaith, just to have a couple out there.
I can't think of one in the downtown Ocala area.
No, and equally, it's hard to find any more public bathrooms that they can use. So
what I don't know if this is throwing you a curve by asking this. Whatever happened with that pavilion that was supposed to be built?
I would like to know.
Oh, you don't know either?
I do know. I think there was some misunderstandings that arose, and it went away. Some of the city council weren't comfortable moving forward with it because of the cost, but the majority of the cost was going to be covered by a grant that is pulled down to this county from the federal government, because the federal government sees that Marion County needs this X amount of dollars to help with their homeless problem, and that money is designated to be used for projects like this, and it's going to get used or lost, or it's going to go to another county. So that's what aggravated me, was that the majority of that was going to be paid for with federal dollars. Now, they did use that money on something else, so it wasn't wasted, which that was a big relief to me, because I thought you don't want to ever give that money back to the federal government, because next year they'll give it to Alachua County. But and I think there wasn't enough education about there was more to the pavilion than just a covering.
I know.
That we were going to have
showers and
we were going to have
tables
an engagement center there too, or we could. There's also federal money available to hire what they call navigators, and they're people that are boots on the ground to actually case manage the people that are still living in the woods. Right now, if you come into Interfaith, we have a case manager for you. If you go to Salvation Army, they have case managers. If you're living in the woods, if you have PTSD or another mental illness and you can't come into our shelter, there's no one to help you. And this is going to give us a center where those chronically homeless that the shelters can't help could actually start helping get services and get benefits.
Well, if I could just say one thing. We were talking yesterday, you and I, about the generous nature of Ocala.
Yeah.
Okay. So I am confident that we're not wrong about that. And if we're generous with our own money, then we certainly should be asking our legislators to be generous with our money that is obtained through taxes.
Right.
So I think as taxpayers, we want to see our fellow human beings who are not as fortunate as the rest of us to have a hand up. I don't think anybody would have complained about the expense to build that pavilion.
There might have been a few that would complain, but they're the ones that complain about everything. So.
But they don't have a radio show, so they don't.
But and I appreciate you saying that, and I don't want to, and I do want to say I've met with all the city council, and they are very supportive of what we're trying to do, and we had some really great conversations about the solution to the homeless, and two, there's this divide between the homeless and the vagrants. They've had a lot of problem with vagrants downtown that panhandle and aggressive. That's not the population that I'm talking. They're not the ones that hang out at Interfaith. The ones that hang out at Interfaith are. They're the same people I've been seeing since I've been there.
There's really a divide, and that is hard for the rest of us to understand. We don't really know. So
but the pavilion eventually, I think it might that project might be resurrected. I'm hoping and praying.
Karla, you're an amazing lady. You're one of our heroes. Thank you for what you do, and we want to help you make sure this happens. So we will continue to announce this and get people to step in my shoes or somebody else's shoes.
Yeah, walk in somebody's shoes.
If you walk in my shoes, they'll just fall off because mine is too big.
That's what I would do if I had a choice. I'd pick bigger shoes than smaller shoes. Last year there was a pair of fuzzy blue slippers. That's what I picked because I knew they'd be comfortable. But I do want to say. to walk. We're not making this difficult or complicated. If you want to walk, if you go on our Facebook page, which is an event page, Walk a Mile in My Shoes 2018, and scroll down through some of the posts, I have this form where people can log their sponsors. But even if you don't have this, you can make your own list of sponsors and turn it in. Or if you don't even have a list, just show up with $250. I don't even care if you have the list of sponsors. Just come with $250, however you can get it. Show up that morning and walk. We don't want it to be so hard that people go, well, I didn't register. Who cares? Show up and show support. But if you want us to know you're coming, you can go on that event page and put that you're coming. Or we have an Eventbrite page where you can go in and actually, it's called purchasing a ticket, but that's really just a ticket to let us know that you're coming.
Okay.
And you can get information there.
Give us the, was that Facebook page?
Yeah, Facebook page, Walk a Mile in My Shoes. 2018, or you can go on our website too. And this is important to say too, because a lot of people now love to pay for everything online. So if you want to sponsor a walker, because again, there are prizes for the people that raise the most money. So if you want to sponsor a walker with your credit card, you can go to the Interfaith webpage and you can just Google Interfaith Emergency Services and it'll come up. Or it's IES Marion. That stands for Interfaith Emergency Services Marion for Marion County.org. And on that, there's a big red donate button. You can't miss it. Go there. And there's a comment section when you make a donation. You just put the walker's name in that section and they'll get credit.
Karla, thank you for what you do and for sharing what you're doing with us. And that's our job. Our job is to get the word out. And,
I appreciate it.
And we will continue to do that. September 1st is the day of the walk. Okay. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back.
Hey Adam, those burgers gonna be done before summer's over?
Maybe. Why? You got big plans for the summer?
Not really. Just the usual, kids hanging around the house. How about you?
Actually, I'm having Joshua get his pilot's license this summer.
What? Is he old enough? Can you really do that in just the summer?
Yeah, you can get your pilot's license at 17, and the summer is plenty of time. Plus, this could be the start to his career as an airline pilot.
That is a great idea. I bet Tyler would love that. Actually, I would too.
You guys should do it.
I don't have time for that. Some of us have to work for a living, you know?
Not you, no. Seriously, they work around your schedule.
Really? That's cool. Where are you going?
Ocala Aviation, at the airport off 60th.
How'd you hear about it?
I heard about it on the radio, then I stopped in. I've got a card if you want the number.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get my phone.
Hurry up, the burgers are burning.
Okay, I'm ready. Go ahead.
861-7484.
Hold on, I missed a number.
Ah, such a slacker. Here it is again. 861-7484.
Excellent. I'm going to call them now.
How about we eat before you start your new adventure?
That's probably a good idea.
You think?
Have you ever looked at a homeless person and wondered what it's like to walk in their shoes? I'm Karla with Interfaith, and we're hosting a 1-mile walk to benefit our homeless shelter and raise awareness for our homeless friends. This is a walk that will change you for good. To learn more, visit our Facebook page, Walk a Mile in My Shoes 2018, or the Interfaith website at iesmarion.org. Take a walk with me on September 1st. The person you will impact the most is you.
This is an urgent health notice for all residents suffering from back, neck, knee, and wrist pain. You may qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you, but the deadline is fast approaching. Simply call the Health Alert Hotline now.
You heard right. You may qualify for a pain-relieving back, neck, knee, or wrist brace. These items may even be covered by Medicare or your private insurance. The Health Alert Hotline is your brace company. These specialized braces have been tested for pain relief. Call us toll-free right now to determine your eligibility and to learn how to use your private insurance or Medicare to minimize your out-of-pocket cost. Don't wait. If the deadline passes, you may lose your opportunity to get a pain-relieving back, neck, knee, or wrist brace at little or no cost to you.
800